I don't know what that was. Welcome to our podcast. This is Grant. That's Botond. We're going to be talking about the upcoming game between the Niners and Seahawks. But first, we want to do a little discussion about the Pats game. We haven't talked to Botond all week. Botond is very perceptive. He's live from Budapest. You're in Budapest, no?
Yeah, in Budapest.
So let's go forward by starting with last week. Botond, what did you see from Budapest in the Niners game against the Patriots?
Well, I was quite surprised, but before I tell my opinions to everybody who are watching us, I'm just glad to be here again. You guys are fantastic. I was reading the comments on YouTube, so thank you. It means a lot. So what did I see last week? Well, we played great, I think. Shanahan did a wonderful job again, just like Saleh did. I'm not surprised after all. I put a lot of trust in them after the Rams game, and they just did a wonderful job. I think the only one, and everyone who is watching us week to week would not be surprised that the one who I was not okay with was Jimmy Garoppolo again.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Jimmy. I really try to like you, but
me too. I try. He's a likable person. If you ever meet him, you would like him, and I think all his teammates and coaches do. But that doesn't mean we have to like watch him play.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah,
he seems like a nice guy. My girlfriend liked him when she first saw him, but after all, she knows football as well, and right now she doesn't like him as well.
So, what did you see from Jimmy specifically in this game?
Well,
I gave him a C+.
Yeah, and that's the grade that I would give to him as well. I think he wasn't so bad as he was at the start of the season. He wasn't so bad as he was against Dolphins, but he still makes a lot of poor throws. He still makes a lot of poor decisions. I think if we are going to play harder enemies, I know a lot of people like
I love that
the enemies word.
I've been saying that all week.
Great. So if we are playing against tougher opposing teams, I think we could have problems because of those poor decisions, of those slow decisions, and of those bad throws that he did last week.
Where do you think he ranks right now in terms of starting quarterbacks in the NFL?
I think that he is in the bottom 10.
Yikes. So somewhere between 22 and 32?
Yeah.
I can't really disagree. I mean, when I watch the Carolina Panthers and I see Teddy Bridgewater, I see a guy who's just as good as Jimmy, if not better. I mean, a little bit more mobile than Jimmy, just as fragile as Jimmy, just as, noodle-armed as Jimmy. Maybe that was a little harsh, but I mean, I think he's in the same tier as Kirk Cousins, Teddy Bridgewater, Derek Carr. I mean, even Derek Carr's having a better season than Jimmy Garoppolo. He's a stronger arm. He's more mobile. Yeah, I would kind of have to put him in. I don't know that he's a top 20 quarterback right now.
I don't mind.
And yet he still wins all the time, which is just amazing.
Yeah, but as you have written last week and the week before, it's mainly because of the system that we are playing right now. As we could see in the statistics, in the last 2 weeks, I remember you wrote it onto Twitter that he just threw for 134 yards
in the air.
In the air.
It was like 46 and 80.
Yeah, that's bad, I think. So, okay,
it's extremely limited, and it's amazing that Kyle Shanahan can win structuring offense that way. It's almost like high school offense if you have a quarterback who literally can't throw.
Yeah, and that's why could we have some problems right now when we are going to play against the Seahawks, because we lost the guy who was the heart of this system right now, and that's Deebo Samuel.
Let's talk about that, because it seems that you can actually win games with all these shovel passes and screen passes if you have Deebo Samuel, because that's the best way to use him, and he's a big-time playmaker. Now he's out. What effect do you expect that to have on the offense in this game and moving forward? Because he's going to be out for a few weeks.
At least 2 weeks, if I remember well.
At least 2, right? It's a 3-week injury, so he could be back in 3,
Yeah. First of all, I have to say that what he suffered is a stress injury.
Yes.
So it's because a lot of contact that he made during the
overuse.
match. Yeah.
He was hurt earlier, came back.
Overused.
Yeah.
After all, I must say that it was the only mistake that Shanahan made, that he put Deebo back into the fourth quarter.
Totally agree. If you go back and look when Deebo got hurt, they were up 33-6.
Yeah.
It was 3rd and 8, and they lined him up at running back and pitched him the ball. Like, the game's over. Just give it to Hasty or McKinnon and be done with it.
Yeah, and it was a bit of Shanahan panic.
Yes.
I think, because he remembers that Super Bowl so well.
So he's like, keep running it. Fine, but you don't have to use Deebo that way. I mean, save Deebo for like when games are close. You know, in basketball, that's the situation where you have all your starters on the bench and you go with your backups. Like, come on, bro. What are you doing, dude? Anyway. So
right now, what I see is, if I remember well the statistics, then Deebo caught 11 passes in the last 2 games, if I remember well. But only one of them was in positive yardage.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. He caught passes for a total, without yards after catch, for a total of minus 44 yards. And he made 134 yards positive after that. So
that's amazing.
That's
unreal.
Yeah. And that's why I say that I must agree with Wish. I watched the video that you made with Wish. Deebo Samuel is so important right now in this offense. He could be less important like he was last year, but this year he is important because right now what we are doing is that we are building up the confidence of Jimmy.
Right.
And without Deebo, it could be much harder right now, I think. There's no one in this team who can be as effective on the end arounds and shower passes as he is right now. And it's mainly because his aggressive play style, his ability to run the ball. Right now, he's more like a running back in this 49ers offense, I think.
And he makes Jimmy Garoppolo's job so easy. Dude, just flip it forward. Deebo's going to do the rest. Just throw it down the line. Deebo's going to do the rest. So I'm with you. Like, when I watch the film, I actually think that Brandon Ayuk is a better player right now than Deebo Samuel. But the problem is that Ayuk's on the wrong team, man. He is on the wrong team. Like, he's getting open down the field consistently. If he gets press man coverage on the outside and he runs a fade, he's open for a touchdown, but he never even gets looked. He never even gets looks. So he doesn't, I don't think his stats really reflect what he can do right now.
Absolutely.
Like, if he were playing with Russell Wilson, it'd be a whole different story. But the thing, what I'm saying is, like, even though Ayuk is a Deebo, and I think Ayuk can do a lot of the same things Deebo does. I don't know if he can, if he'll break down or not. But then again, Deebo breaks down. You know, Deebo gets hurt a lot, and that's what he did in college. So I'd like to see Kyle Shanahan basically call the plays for Ayuk that he would have called for Deebo, because there's no point in using Ayuk as a downfield threat when you're not even going to call those passes and the quarterback's not even going to look to throw those balls.
On the other side, I must say that time will come when Jimmy has to throw the ball.
Yes.
And
that's this weekend.
Yeah, it could be this weekend. And
he's going against the best offense in the league. If it's not this weekend, when is it?
Yeah. So I think that the time has come. So Jimmy, let's shine, because right now you don't have Deebo. I must say, after all, that Ayuk is a way better wide receiver than Deebo is, but Deebo is a way better all-around football player. So
perhaps. Again, I maintain that Ayuk can do a lot of the things that Deebo does. He just hasn't been given the same type of opportunities. I'd like to see him get those touches. I mean, they don't have to be. Don't put him at running back. Like, don't do that. But the jet sweeps, the end arounds, definitely. The pop passes. Don't take that out of the game. Don't take that out of the game plan because Deebo's gone. Because that's the stuff that is keeping the Niners offense afloat right now. Without that, what do they have?
Nothing.
So you've got to keep
close to nothing.
Close to nothing. But again, if you have JaMychal Hasty in the backfield, Kyle Juszczyk in front of him, George Kittle on the line, and Brandon Ayuk running the Deebo Samuel stuff, that's a lot of weapons. I mean, you're not really hurting, and you don't have Deebo, you don't have some things, but I still think you have enough. I mean, 4 good players, 4 weapons on offense. A lot of teams don't have that much. So I don't really want to hear complaints. I mean, it is a loss having Deebo Samuel, but Kyle, you're the best. Figure it out. No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
actually
best.
agree with you.
Yeah.
What I have written today at morning while I was writing my preview before the match for the Hungarian faithful was that maybe we can see Deebo's touches from Jermichael Hasty, from Coleman. I think that Shanahan will spread those touches while we are going to play that game. Actually, I'm excited to see who will get the most of Deebo touches
Right,
in
because
the
he's
game.
getting about 7-8 touches a game, so they got to spread that out.
Yeah.
You know, you 3 to Ayuk, 3. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's move on. Is there anything you want to mention? We've been talking about the coaching with the team. If there's anything else you want to say about that, we could, or we could go on to the deadline, which is 4 days.
Actually, I must say that week to week, I'm actually right now, I'm sure that Saleh is a genius. So every Niner fan, you should say that after those years when I was, okay, what was that blitz? Okay, what was that scheme? Right now, I must say that he is great. He is great, even though we have most of our injuries in the defense. Saleh did a wonderful job. Actually, I'm excited because our cornerbacks right now, Mosley and Verrett, haven't met any receiver duos that they will meet this weekend. So I'm excited because of them, but I have a lot of trust in them. And I also have a lot of trust in Saleh. So that's all I think we covered last game.
Well, I think the interesting thing with Saleh is like people have been going back and forth. Is he good for 4 years? People improve or get worse. Look at Pete Carroll. Has he improved in the last 3 years? I don't see it. It seems like maybe he's reached his expiration date. We saw it happen with Monty Kiffin and Dom Capers. A lot of these older defensive gurus start to lose it. I mean, it's almost like an author who's writing the same book every year. Like people like, yeah, we know what's going to happen next, buddy. You know? So with Robert Saleh, we've seen a guy who he had no coordinator experience before he got this job. He'd been a position coach for like 4 years. I mean, he's been really rising up quickly. And when he first got the job, he wasn't the greatest coordinator, but he has improved so much in just 3.5 years, and to the point where he has overcome 8 injuries to starters. I mean, you look at the Seahawks and they have the worst defense in the league, and people in Seattle, I was on with a Seattle radio station yesterday, and they're like, how could you say that Robert Saleh is a better defensive coach right now than Pete Carroll? I mean, Pete Carroll has all these injuries and he doesn't have enough talent. It's like, okay, well, that's the same thing that Robert Saleh's going through, but Saleh's finding solutions and Pete Carroll isn't. So I don't know. I mean, Pete Carroll's more accomplished. He has more experience, but who's getting better and who's getting worse?
Yeah, that's an interesting question right now. And what I always say is Saleh is not great because he was great when he got here, and he became the coach of the 49ers. He is great because when first he got here, he wanted to make the Legion of Boom #2. Right now, we see a lot of different schemes that he is using. He tries to be an aggressive defensive coordinator. He puts a lot of effort into the game plans. He's always 2 steps before anybody else who is playing against.
Yeah, absolutely. It just what he's doing this year without a pass rush. Everyone used that against him last year. Like, well, he has the best pass rush in the league. How much is he really doing schematically? Now he has no pass rush, which is exactly where the Seahawks are. I mean, in a lot of ways, he's in the same exact position that Pete Carroll is in. And what Robert Saleh has done has evolved. He doesn't even really use the Seahawks scheme anymore. He goes wide 9 with his front, and his coverages are a lot of man, cover 1, 2 man, and occasionally they'll use some zone, some cover 3, cover 4. Even though they still say they're a zone defense team, they're not. They're confusing teams, and they're blitzing a lot. They're now a pressure team. I mean, they couldn't have changed any more than they have. And you look at Seattle, it's like, well, you're still kind of running the same stuff you've been running the last 10 years, and it's fooling no one. Maybe it's maybe it's time for you to retire, and maybe the Seahawks should hire Robert Saleh. I don't know.
I would be devastated. I would be devastated.
I know. Right? Absolutely right. What should we talk about? Is there a trade you think the Niners should make at the deadline in a few days?
Well,
I know they don't have much cap space, but they could trade guys for picks or trade players for players.
But I have an interesting idea right now. We had a wonderful guy who was playing, who was the most dominant pass rusher when we drafted him, and right now he is playing for the Cowboys, and that's Adam Smith. I think the season of the Cowboys is over right now. We can say that with the injury of Dak Prescott, even though it's the NFC least, I don't see how they can win that division right now, especially after that Washington loss. Right now, when I want to say that if I would be the GM for the 49ers, if I would be Robert Saleh, I would try to trade for Adam Smith.
I like that. To me, they need an edge rusher. If you're going to trade for something, that's it. It's not anything else. Because even I think Haranis Grasu, the center's been pretty decent.
Yeah,
I think he's been fine. You don't need to
he
go
was
get
an upgrade over Garland.
No question about it. And Brunskill has improved recently. The whole offensive line has improved recently. They got to get an edge rusher because Deion Jordan shouldn't play. He's a liability. He gets penalties. He does nothing. Yeah. He does worse than nothing because he gets penalties. And then Jordan Willis, get the hell out of here. Who the hell is Jordan Willis? Yeah, Alden Smith. Go get him. Why not? And if you can't afford him, trade a player.
Yeah, and he's just $2 million.
$2 million. Yeah, it's not. I mean, you trade a player, trade someone.
Yeah.
Someone.
For example, Dante Pettis.
Okay, real quick. Damn it, Gumby said if the Niners do activate Pettis for the game, why not give him a couple of jet passes? He's not bad in space. He needs to be given a chance, not Taylor. I actually agree with this. Let me before you, because I know you don't. So let me make the case real quick, and then you rebut it or not. Look, Trent Taylor does not deserve any more playing time. He doesn't even get open. The one thing he used to do is like get open on 3rd and 7. He doesn't even do that anymore. He's not a threat in any other way. He's useless. And then the other guy, the guy that's probably going to start opposite opposite Brandon Ayuk is Kendrick Bourne. Kendrick Bourne, I don't see it. I mean, I thought he was better last year. He's currently catching 56% of his targets, which is not good for a possession receiver. He's not really a threat on the end arounds, the jet sweeps. He's not much of a threat after the catch, and he drops passes. Pettis drops passes too, all right? But Pettis is a big play threat, has made big plays in his career. I feel like if we're going with the training wheels offense, the horizontal passing offense, I would rather use Pettis on those plays than Bourne because Bourne is useless in that way.
Well, actually, I liked Bourne more last year. I still think that he's a decent player. Right now, what I think that we are missing is that no one in those receiver corps who can just ask him or just teach him what to do or how to do that. Okay, Wes Welker must be a decent receiver coach, but right now I don't think that we have the leader on those receiver corps. On the other side, Dante Pettis, I must say that I agree with some of my friends who said that guy is just soft. I think if you are watching the games which Deebo played, he was a hard runner guy. There was no one who alone could stop him. I don't see that potential in Pettis right now, that he would make those end around sweeps and other things like that. Of course, if we would be a heavy passing team, I must say that I would start Pettis over Bourne, but right now, no.
See, I don't like that. I feel like the offense is much better with 2 wide receivers who are guys who can go behind the line of scrimmage and kind of function as returners or running backs. And Pettis has more of that skill set than Bourne and Taylor. I know Taylor returns punts, but God, he's slow.
He's better.
He's super slow, and so is Bourne. I just don't see it with to me, Bourne is not a starter in the league. And I don't even know if he's a number 3 receiver. He's a number 4. He's a good number 4 as a number 3. I mean, he's not dynamic. He's not shorthanded. He's not Pierre Garçon. If he were Pierre Garçon and would just never dropped a ball, fine. But for his style of play, he can't afford to drop passes because he's not dangerous in other ways. And that's the thing with Pettis. Like, yeah, he's soft. Yeah, he's soft. And yeah, you don't want him running digs over the middle. But he's still, despite his softness, has had lots of big plays in the NFL. And you need big plays in this game because if you don't get it from Brandon Ayuk and Kittle, where are you getting it?
Well, right now, I think that the reason why he's not playing is that it's not because he's bad after all. It's mainly because of Jimmy Garoppolo, because I don't think that Shanahan has got the trust in Jimmy that he can just throw the ball downfield and make some big plays. That's why I don't think that we would play Paris right now, even though we could use him, but we don't have the arm talent.
I just don't understand why Pettis can't get an opportunity. I mean, he's gotten one target all year. It was a deep pass. He didn't catch it. So he doesn't get a second opportunity. How many targets has Trent Taylor gotten this year where he was not even open even a little bit? It seems like there's something personal going on between the coaches and Pettis. I don't know what it is. All I know is that Pettis was doing fine as an NFL player. I mean, his rookie year was decent.
Yeah.
It was decent. And then the Niners hire a new wide receiver coach, Wes Welker, and Dante Pettis goes into the doghouse immediately and never gets out. And we know Wes Welker. Wes Welker is one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. He's a legend. And he was a late round draft pick who made it in the NFL because he was one of the toughest guys at his position. He took tons of hits over the middle and ultimately had to retire because of concussions. I'm sure a guy like Wes Welker looks at a player like Dante Pettis with disgust. Like, you have no toughness, man. You have none of the qualities that I had that allowed me to succeed in this league. And he looks at a guy like Deebo Samuel and all these tough guys who don't back away from courage. That's my kind of guy. Well, you know what, Wes? There's different kinds of wide receivers. And Dante Pettis had some things going for him before you came along. So maybe you could find a new style of teaching for one guy just to get the most out of him, because throwing Trent Taylor in the game and calling up Kevin White and not activating Dante Pettis doesn't help your team. Kevin White?
That guy was a bust.
Yeah, but I don't really care. It's not like Dante Pettis is going to come in this game and have 5 catches for 125 yards. I just feel like the whole Pettis not getting any targets is a little overboard. Ross Dwelly not getting any targets when he has 5 catches for 54 yards and 3 first downs. Why? Why are you still throwing passes to Kendrick Bourne? Why do we need 5 passes a game for Kendrick Bourne where he drops 1? It's like, I don't get it. Kendrick Bourne's fine, but not that good.
Well, I don't know if Shenny has a teenage daughter or something like that, but I couldn't think anything as just Pettis invited his little daughter to a date. Okay, it's just a joke, but
no, I just get the sense that Wes Welker and Kyle Shanahan love Kendrick Bourne, the kind of guy he is. So I like him too. I wouldn't mean I'd play him this much. I'm sorry.
I think that's all. It's all about who the coach likes, who's not. I don't think that Pettis would take any snaps or just a few snaps in this game.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the game coming tomorrow, because that's how I build it. The game against the Seahawks, it's the game of the year so far. Before we get to the keys to win, why don't we do the matchups that interest you and that interest me?
Okay. First of all, I don't know if we have information yet about Jamal Adams, if he's going to play or he is not. Do you have any information about it?
The practice report real quick. Practice and game participation report. What do they say? Oh, I don't know if the Seahawks sent it to us. I don't know about that.
Well, yesterday he was questionable.
Hold on.
He
is questionable. He's questionable with the groin. Chris Carson questionable with the foot. Travis Homer questionable with the knee. Yes. Hyde doubtful. Carlos Hyde doubtful. All right.
But if Jamal Adams plays, I think the most interesting matchup will be George Kittle against Jamal Adams.
Yeah.
And
I would have to say so, because no one else can cover them. George
No.
Kittle on this team, right?
No, that Seattle defense stinks. That's bad. The worst defense right now, I think, in the NFL.
It's down there with the Cowboys.
Yeah,
It might be worse than the Cowboys. They're giving up like a ton of yards. Yeah.
And I think the key for the Seattle right now should be to stop George Kittle, but because besides Brandon Ayuk, he is the greatest playmaker right now in the San Francisco 49ers. We lost Mostert, we lost Deebo Samuel, we have Ayuk. I don't think that he will see so much passes downfield, but we have George Kittle, who is the best tight end in football right now. And I think they should concentrate to limit him. And the best player for that right now is Jamal Adams on the Seattle Seahawks. If he plays, then Kittle can have a hard night. If he don't, then sky is the limit for George Kittle.
Well, the thing about Jamal Adams, it's interesting. It's a great matchup. He is their best pass rusher. Him blitzing is the best thing they have going. So if he's in coverage all game, I mean, that doesn't bode well for George Kittle's stats, but it might bode well for the Niners offense because they don't have to force the ball to Kittle to win. And if the best pass rusher on the enemy team is in coverage all game, then Jimmy Garoppolo should be comfortable, confident, have time, in rhythm, throwing the ball to whoever he wants, even if it's not Kittle. So, I mean, it's an interesting matchup, but they can't just have Adams in coverage all day. They have to find spots to blitz him, and when they do, the Niners have to be ready to throw to Kittle and make him pay, right?
Yeah.
All right, other matchups that are interesting. I mean, how about this one? What are the Niners going to do with Tyler Lockett? Everyone's focused on DK Metcalf because he's bigger and his plays are fun. But if you look at their numbers, DK Metcalf's catching like 54% of his targets, getting about 3 balls a game. He's important. And if you're not careful, one of his catches will be a 75-yard touchdown. But I just feel like if you just kind of stay on top, don't give up the big play, he's not going to beat you. Tyler Lockett will. Tyler Lockett has like 45 catches. He's catching like 77% of his passes. I mean, that's the guy. So you want to play zone coverage because you want to keep things in front of you and make them check down and have eyes on Russell Wilson. But if you just let Tyler Lockett run through your secondary, I don't know. Russell Wilson's pretty accurate. So I'm thinking that you're going to have to see Jason Verrett lock this guy up man to man. And if he can't, then the Niners have problems. I'm curious to see that matchup.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. The first thing that I have written today in the morning was that we shouldn't use Verrett to defend on DK Metcalf. We should use him to shut down Lockett. And if he can do that, then we should consider if we will resign Richard Sherman next year.
Oh, Sherman's gone. That's over. Goodbye.
I like the guy.
I like him too. If you want to be a coach,
yeah. On the other side, you said that we should play zone coverage against the Seattle Seahawks. Right now, what I see is if I can be Robert Saleh, I would use just cover 1 or maybe cover 0. Because
I'm with you. Yeah. Hey, when you are playing man against this team, you're blitzing.
Yeah.
You're blitzing or you're doubling Lockett, one or the other.
Yeah. You're blitzing all the time, and I think that Saleh watched your videos as well, and Vance Joseph against Seattle Seahawks in the overtime victory, because that could be the key to defeat this Seahawks.
What Vance Joseph did is you want your pass rushers going straight. No twists, no stunts. Everyone goes straight, stay in your lane. And if you want to bring extra pressure, you bring it off the edge because that further contains Russell Wilson in the pocket. And the Seahawks running backs cannot block. Not at all.
Yeah.
So you can get guys one-on-one against DJ Dallas and just run over. And that's what the Cardinals did over and over and over.
Yeah, and even Carlos Hyde can block. So
no, and it's a one-dimensional team.
Yeah, even though I liked him when he was a 49ers player, I must say that he has some limits, and that's a limit for Carlos Hyde. He just couldn't block. On the other side, I must say that I would use as many defensive backs in this defense as possible. So I wouldn't be surprised if Saleh would use about 6 or 7 defensive backs on the same time on the field, because you have to have speed to rush Russell Wilson, and that's the only way to make a sack right now.
Again, and again, it's a one-dimensional team. They don't have healthy running backs. I mean, and maybe if Chris Carson plays, but they don't run very well anymore. They want to pass. They've changed the identity of their offense. They let Russ cook, let him throw as much as possible. Okay, well then the blitzes are coming, buddy. This is the new blueprint to stop you. The other thing is, like, yeah, you want to play cover 1 and cover 0 and blitz a lot, but when you're not doing, you can't blitz every time. And when you're not sending pressure, what I would do is I would play. I always suggest this, but like a box and 1, I would do a 3 deep, and I would have a 3 deep, 3 under with a man mark on Lockett. Like, if you want to throw to Greg Olsen or DK Metcalf, check down to them, fine, that's fine. We'll rally and make the tackle. But if you want to throw to Lockett, he's not open ever. Yeah. He has a guy marking him all game, and it's Jason Verrett. You got to go some other direction. That's what I would do. You never really see Robert Saleh call a coverage like that, where it's one guy marked and everyone else is playing zone, but other guys do it. There's no rule against it, and that's how I would do it against this type of team.
Robert, you can still change your schemes for tomorrow.
It's only Saturday. Real quick, someone said Bourne is the best red zone threat we have at the wide receiver position if we're passing, and he has made big plays, big catches to beat the Rams last year in a crucial game. KB has earned Shanahan's trust.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, play him in the red zone, man. Does he need to start? Does Dante Pettis need to have 0 playing time? I think they can split time. I don't think Kendrick Bourne is so great that he needs to start and get 65 snaps a game. Like, give him 30, 20. Give Dante Pettis 7. Give him 8 snaps and 1 target and see what he's got. I don't know. Unless he really said something out of line in meeting one day, and that's what's going on right now. I don't know. What are the keys for the Niners to win this game?
First of all, we have to do what we are always doing when we are winning matches this year. Just run the ball, keep Russell Wilson down the field. You don't want the Seahawks to make any big and explosive plays, so you have to be aware of Russell Wilson throwing deep balls. I think that's it, because that's a so one-dimensional team. If you can just win the time of possession and you just can limit Russell Wilson, not stop, because I don't think that anyone can stop Russell Wilson right now. He's the best quarterback right now in the NFL. So not to stop him, but to limit him. If you can do that, then this Seattle Seahawks defense is so bad that we can win this game. On the other hand, Jimmy Garoppolo must play better and better. If he can do that, I think we can win this match.
Yeah, I mean, this is the way I look at it. It all starts with containing Russell Wilson in the pocket. Last year when they lost at home, was it a tie? What was it, a tie? They lost? I forget. They lost. They lost to the Seahawks at home. It was basically because they couldn't contain Russell Wilson in the pocket in overtime. So they got it. That starts there. And then Russell Wilson is great, but I still think that there's a way to beat him. I think he's a little impatient as a quarterback. He's the best deep ball thrower in the game, and he wants to throw deep. And if you kind of force him to keep checking down, then he has a game like he has against the Cardinals. So what I would want to do is force him to throw quick passes all game, and you do it by either blitzing or playing zone. You force the check down, you force the hot throw. You don't let him drop back against a 4-man rush and just chill. Wait until DK Metcalf is deep and throw it up to him. Don't let him do that. You got to let him make him consistently check it down, make him consistently throw hot, and he'll get impatient and he'll throw it up. And like he did against the Cardinals in overtime, and you just got to be there to make the pick. If you don't do that, you're going to lose, because Russell Wilson is way too good. He's accurate. He throws deep. He's smart. He's mobile. He's just a little impatient is what I think.
Yeah, that's the only weak spot he has right now.
Yeah. And who can blame him for being impatient? Every time he throws deep, he hits it. So
yeah. That's all I think. We covered it.
So. Who are you picking to win?
Grant, that's the part what I hate the most, because every time I picked in the past the 49ers, we lost. I pick drama at the end of the game. I'm still faithful. I think deep inside that we will win that match. But right now in public, I won't pick anyone.
See, the thing is, I've been picking the Niners all week, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Seahawks win. I mean, they have no defense, but the Niners are jet lagged. They're coming off a really long trip to New England. There's no guarantee that their offense will be clicking. You know, that might be a game where the offense commits a bunch of turnovers.
Yeah.
You know, because the Seahawks do force turnovers. So if the offense isn't clicking, as you pointed out, no Deebo, how efficient is it really going to be? You're going against Russell Wilson, who usually doesn't lose 2 games in a row. It's a tough game. You're on the road for the 2nd week in a row. This is not a gimme win. And if they lose this game, you're back to like, well, now they got to play on Thursday.
4-4.
You know, like they're not out of the woods yet. Things are looking good. They've won 2 in a row. If they win this game, then you're like, okay, they've got some serious momentum. They could go all the way. If they lose this game, you're like, oh, they're still in last place. You know, now they got to play on. They could lose to Green Bay on Thursday night. This is getting to be a very tough schedule.
Yeah. The next matches are horror. I think what I said some weeks before that Rams and New England game. I was surprised that we could just march through them extremely easy. This game is going to be a fate changer right now. If we can win this game, I think the sky is the limit. As I said before when I was talking about George Kittle, if we win this game, then the next few games are not looking so hard after all, and they just going to get back some of that win mentality that they had last year.
Right. And, you know, we'll see really what kind of impact Deebo Samuel has on this offense.
Yeah.
You know, what his absence really. We've been talking about it for weeks. We're going to find out. You know, if they can't score much against the worst defense in the league without Deebo, that says a lot. That says a lot. Yeah. Well, all right. I think let's wrap it up right there. This was a good preview. I told everyone we were a little late today. I told Botond we were going on Sunday, and then at like 2 hours ago, I'm like, "Hey, do you want to do it today instead?" And he was like, "Yeah, of course." So, Botond, thanks for dropping everything. And it's
thanks
like
for the opportunity again.
No, what time is it in Budapest right now? 10?
Right now, it's almost 8 o'clock.
Almost 8.
PM.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Have a great Saturday night. Go do something fun. Go to a club. No, you can't do that anymore.
COVID.
All right, man. Have fun.
Have a nice weekend.
All right,
It was nice to talk to you. Goodbye.
Bye.